Spirit of Texas Bank, Nissan, Slovacek Sausage, and Germania Insurance bring you this clip of the Texas Bucket List. Howdy, and welcome back to the Texas Bucket List. Next up on the show, we head to a museum with a lot of history to chew on. It's the Railroad and Cultural Museum in Ennis. For 100 years, this small brick building has been sitting in the center of Ennis. Many Texans have traversed by here and even stopped for a cup of coffee while riding the rails. Others started their lifelong work here, while some can credit their entire being to this place. But now the former train depot and restaurant house a collection of incredible artifacts dedicated to the railroad and the people of Ennis.
For 3 generations we had a lot of stuff that went in this museum.
Dane Williams' family is fond of this form of transportation because it's supported his family since his grandfather, Brother Curry, started on the railroad back in 1907. Now, Dane's son is a 4th-generation conductor.
He's just in your blood. He just takes a certain kind of person that loves it, that wants to be a railroad person.
Back when Brother first blew his whistle and yelled,
"All aboard!"
a trip from Dallas to Houston took 10 hours. 52 years and 2.4 million miles of line later, Brother's concluding conducting caravan on the Sunbeam steam engine was able to make the 265-mile trek in just 265 minutes. So this is the room that kind of changed your life, huh?
Yes, this is the room. This was the train master's office at the time, and this is the room I was hired out as a brakeman.
The Houston and Texas Central Railroad established Ennis in 1872. It was known as the place where the railroad and cotton fields met and served as a hub for its Dallas to Houston line. This is just some of the history you can learn by browsing the bookcases and seeing some fascinating photos that'll make you lose your train of thought.
This is a picture my uncle took, Ford Curry took. This is one of my favorite pictures because you can see so much of the town and you can see the yard a mile away, and this is a Sunbeam stop in the depot to change crews.
It's amazing, just the telephone lines and the history.
It's all there, all captured. He did such good work, so detailed.
Dane's Uncle Ford was an aerial photographer during World War II, and his pictures helped tell the story of this town.
It's just everywhere you look, it's pictures that he took that we wouldn't have the history if he hadn't.
Jim Templin is another Ennis native, but he didn't follow in his father's footsteps.
I've had people ask me why I didn't want to go to work for the railroad, and I said because I grew up in a railroad family and we had to run our life by what the railroad was doing to my daddy.
Instead, Jim went to college and became a pharmacist, but he still relishes in the history of Ennis and its relationship with the railroad. In fact, if it wasn't for the train coming through town, Jim may not even be here.
He walked in and she said she looked up at him. She said, "That's the man I'm gonna marry."
You see, it was inside this very building that his parents met back in 1927.
And about a year and a half later, they got married.
So you can kind of attribute your life to this
To the railroad, yes. Yeah. I mean, who's got toys like this?
I know, this is like every kid's dream.
Right. This is probably my favorite spot in the whole museum. It's a scale model, I think it said N scale model, of the railroad yards here in Ennis as they were in 1948.
To see what all encompassed the town of Ennis, it's sort of engulfing. And then, when you realize it's all gone, it makes you stop in your tracks.
If you want to see how a railroad operated, this was the main spot between Dallas and Houston. This is where the trains were made up. It's amazing.
Well, it's amazing too that this was only 65 years ago and it's already all gone.
Yeah, I mean, it's totally gone. They did a book recently, Railroading in Ennis. One of the pictures in there is my dad standing up there. Now, he was retired by that time. He's standing up there I would say about that spot right there, looking out over it, and there's nothing there. And I thought, that's got to be heartbreaking to a guy that worked here from 1927. He retired in 1967, and then it's all gone.
The way Jim steams off on the significance of our railroad history, you understand why it's important for generations of Texans to keep an eye down the line. Because riding the rails might be a thing of the future.
The railroad has reached what I think is the bottom of its slump, and now it's coming back up. The United States has got to catch up. You go to Europe, and the high-speed trains, running 200, 250 miles an hour, everywhere you look, here people are riding on the trains. Gasoline over there, $7.50 or $8 a gallon, so they don't, everybody can't drive everywhere, and they're not constantly building new highways in Germany.
Learning the history of the lines that laid the lineage for this part of the Lone Star State makes the Ennis Railroad and Culture Museum well worth a stop on the Texas bucket list.
Warms my heart to know people are still interested. A lot of people don't even know we have a museum here because where we're located. And even people here in Ennis didn't know we had a museum here.
The more you know, the more interesting your life can be.
You want to see me and talk to me and learn more about here, just come down there and ask for me. I'll be down here.
Personal tour.
Personal tour, yes sir. Means a lot to me. Like I said, I'm glad that it is here.
The Texas Bucket List is brought to you by Spirit of Texas Bank, Texans helping Texans. Slovacek Sausage, you'll love our sausage. Germania Insurance, the insurance Texans trust. And Nissan, innovation that excites.